A very good morning to all. I, Deepika Pathak, Assistant Professor of NIDA Institute of Engineering and Technology, Pharmacy Institute, welcoming you all. Present here on the second day of FDP, AICT sponsored Atal Academy Faculty Development Program on Design Thinking, a patient-centric approach in health industry. Today we have three sessions to conduct. Our first session is with Dr. Abhilasha, ma'am. Before ma'am to start the session, I would like to give a brief introduction. Professor Abhilasha Abhigupta, a noted educationalist and social worker, is a well-known name in the field of academics. She graduated with a BSc in Business Management from Al Hikma University, Iraq, pursued her MBA from the Faculty of Management Studies, Delhi University, and B.Ed from Saurashtra University. She has worked as Director of Vocational Institutes at Shivai Women's Training Institute at the YWCA of Delhi and Amity University. She was head of management department at ICRI and CREMA. Presently, she is professor with Delhi Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research University. She has over 30 years of experience in teaching. Besides her academic prowess, Abhilasha ma'am has earned a name for conducting powerful training programs. Abhilasha Abhigupta is a competent professional with 20 years of quality experience in personality development, spoken English as a senior trainer. She holds regular workshops in soft skills for corporates as well as college and school-going students. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you so much for the beautiful words you said.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Lovely being with you once again, audience. And my topic today is developing emotional quotient or building emotional intelligence. Okay, now, next slide. I would like to start with intelligent quotient. Now, there are 4 types of quotient recently. One is intelligent quotient, one is emotional quotient, one is social quotient, and one is uh, another one. I'll just remember that and tell you this thing. Now, intelligent quotient was the name given in 1800 by Bennett Simon. And Bennett Simon said, and we hold it till now, the same thought process, which we need to change. He said that, a man works like we give an examination and we get results, we get the marks, and the one who tops, we are so proud of him. Oh, my son has topped. And that is what we think will make him successful in life. Otherwise, if the ones who failed and the one who were bottom line, oh, they were bekar, bilkul bekar hai, padte hi nahi hai. And they were the ones we thought would be, do chor chakari, they'll become criminals, and they were immoral, and they were defective genes. This is what we hold till now. However, next slide. This changed with something called emotional intelligence. Why? Only because a person can retain his technical knowledge, what he reads in books, and maybe vomits it out in the examination. Is that the criteria we are going to go with? That he will be very successful in life? How does he actually solve problems? Because life is full of situations that we have to handle. And a bookworm may not know how to handle problems. That's why nowadays the HR are very, very clever. They start giving case studies to students to judge their analytical skills, to judge whether they've got much more than the technical knowledge that they have possessed in the college. Because we do focus on the intelligent quotient. Now, what happens is that we are, even guesstimates are used now. Guesstimates is a bit difficult for the students to handle, but this is all to know how they approach a problem. So, do people with high IQ solve all the problems? That was the question. And they found, like in my time, when I did MBA, three toppers of IIMs, different IIMs, got selected by one company. And we were saying, oh, look at that, how lucky they are, this and that. But very soon, very, very soon, they were asked to leave because nobody was ready to listen to the other. There was no team spirit between the three. Everybody thought, I'm the best. What was lacking? Emotional intelligence. I come recently, the Google CEO, Sundar Pichai, gave a 60 second speech. And he said, if you are juggling with 5 balls, one is made of rubber, 4 are made of glass. And if you are juggling with them and you don't want them to fall, okay, remember that the rubber one will bounce back, but the other 4, if they fall down, they'll not be the same. And these 5 things are: the rubber ball is the work, we'll bounce back. But the 4 glass ones are the soul, the friends, the family, and the health. If they fall down, well, it's difficult and they won't be the same. A person with very high emotional intelligence. Next slide. So, next slide. So, IQ is just your how much you know, your technical knowledge. But emotional quotient was brought to light in the year 1995 by a book written by Daniel Goleman. And he was a behavioral scientist. And he said that emotional intelligence is the one that brings success to everybody's life, not intelligent quotient. And the schools, the colleges should focus on emotional intelligence. And that is the reason nowadays colleges are introducing communication skills and soft skills. Soft skills, the students still now take that very easily. Arey, sab kuch aata hai. But then when they face difficulties in leading their lives, intelligent quotient is the threshold, will give you the job. Your marks will get you the call. But emotional intelligence will tell you how to survive in the organization, will tell you how to live. So it is not only sweeping in America, it was the first place was America. However, all over the world, and especially in India, we are talking about emotional intelligence. Just a few days back, a friend of mine, she went for an interview, faculty interview, and they asked her, what do you think is the main thing we should look into? And she said, emotional intelligence. And they said, very good. They all had their ears and their eyes big and they were smiling. So many organizations are doing research and developing this, and it is sweeping the whole world. Next slide. So we are now going to understand what is emotional intelligence, and we are going to work on it. Okay, next slide. So we are going to define emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? It is our ability to connect, to understand our emotions and the emotions of others. And we use this power as a source of human energy and make it a synergy. We use it as information and trust, and we influence people with it. We become powerful. Next slide. So many people are hired for their IQ, and they are fired for the lack of EQ. So all leaders who have very high emotional intelligence are the people who excel in life. They are the ones who connect with everybody. And they are the ones who are having very satisfying relationships. And they are all alike in one way, and that is that they have a very high emotional intelligence. One of my inspirational leaders is APJ Abdul Kalam, the president of India, the ex-president. He had a very high level of emotional intelligence. And that is why he's still remembered till now. Next slide. So people are now looking at other people, HR people only promote those people who have a high level of emotional intelligence. So it is more than your technical knowledge that is going to take you higher. And this is the truth. So the best decisions are made when you have a high level of emotional intelligence. And today we are not going to discuss, I'm just going to give you a brief, and I'm going to tell you the secrets of developing your emotional intelligence and being successful in life and having job satisfaction, being satisfied with yourself. Next slide. So we have intelligent quotient, which is very, very important. It measures one's intelligence and it will give you the job. With your marks, you will get the call. If you're a topper, definitely you get the call. They are the entry-level requirements. However, the EQ, the emotional intelligence, next slide, the emotional intelligence will make you stay in the organization. And people are usually hired for their IQ and fired for their EQ. Next slide. So even the people who are promoted are the ones with the emotional intelligence. Now, what is emotional intelligence? It might be there in you inborn. But can you develop it? I have a lot of people who say, ma'am, can we develop it right now? Of course we can develop it. And that is why the training programs are taking place. A lot of corporates are doing that for the junior level, middle level, and the senior level management. And they are developing people for their emotional intelligence. Next slide. So we see that it is leadership, emotional intelligence is a part of leadership. The leaders have emotional intelligence, the ones who are making an impact. They are the people who have high level of emotional intelligence are the ones who are earning the better salaries. Next. And they are the ones who are being promoted. Remember, achievers never expose themselves. Their achievements expose them. And what happens is when you have high emotional intelligence and your team spirit is there, you have built a team. It builds relationships, it reduces stress, and it diffuses conflicts. And you improve on your job satisfaction. Professionally and personally, you're a happier person. You're such a happy person. And remember, growing older is mandatory, but growing up is optional, and we are going to grow up. Life is a choice between aging and growing. Aging adds years to your life, but growing adds life to your years. Next slide. So it is important for everybody. It is important for everybody. Why? Because our life is based on the choices that we make. It's based, actually, how you are traveling on that road is based on the choices that you have made. You have actually determined your life. So we make a living by what we get, but we make a life with what we give. Now, Daniel Goleman had components of EQ, and now I'm coming to how to develop your EQ. If you don't have emotional intelligence, you'll come to know, you'll be aware how much emotional intelligence you have by this particular session we are having. And we will learn how to develop it if we don't have it. And there is no age which is barring you from developing your emotional intelligence. Okay, so we come to the first component, next slide, which is called self-awareness. Now, self-awareness means that you know who you are. Let me tell you something. The leaders, I'm going to talk about the studies that I have read. You know, we talk about leadership and we say that emotional intelligence is a part of leadership. But they did a research and they found that the leaders, only 10 to 15% were aware of what they were. Isn't that strange? So Kellogg School of Management did a survey, and I'm going to talk something which is very controversial. They did a survey and they said that as executives climb up the ladder, okay, they become very self-assured and confident. So they become absorbed in themselves and they feel they consider only their perspectives and they don't consider the others' perspectives. So they don't connect with the juniors. That was a research. And then there were Canadian researchers and they said, they studied the brain and they said that as the people who rose higher in the ladder, their ability to empathize with the juniors became less. They thought of their needs. They said, we are complete. We are leaders. And they could not, they felt that we don't have to change. The others have to change. The juniors have to change. So the connect was finished. Okay, so this is about leadership. So what is self-awareness? This is the first step you have to do. Self-awareness is understanding your emotions, your emotional triggers. What makes you angry? What makes you happy? What makes you stressed out? Understanding your emotions. What emotions do you have very often? What are your skills? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What motivates you? What are your values in life? What are the goals you have? And how you understand your thought processes. Which thoughts come to you very often? You know, there are many times each one of us feels that nobody loves us. I have many people who tell me, Ma'am, I feel very alone. I'm absolutely. I said, Beta, anybody has given you any compliments? Yes, ma'am. I said, write them down. And I'm going to come to that later. Go over them. If you get WhatsApp which are thanking you or praising you, you've been helpful in your life. You have no reason to think that you are useless. This is self-awareness, but we don't take it as self-awareness. We think it's a WhatsApp this thing. So what makes you happy? That WhatsApp made you happy? And they are making you aware of what you have done to their life, your ability and your capability. Your ability to make somebody happy. So we come to the point that self-awareness, when we are aware of our emotions, what makes us angry, what makes us happy, what makes us sad, the emotional triggers, our skills and our strengths. You know, the other day, not the other day, many times I have got this question. Ma'am, I went to for the interview. मेरे को पता नहीं क्या हो जाता है उधर. I told them, I said, do you carry your strengths and your achievements and your accomplishments with you? I said, when you go to an interview, think about yourself. Carry with you, not your weaknesses, but your strengths, your beauty, your accomplishments, your achievements, your positive emotions, and that builds your confidence, and you walk into the room. And the most beautiful jewelry you can wear is confidence. People will look at you. So what happens is that it gives you a sense of power when you know your strengths and this thing. Nowadays, remember before people were selected only on the basis of their marks. Nowadays, like I told you, HR is looking at their analytical skills, case studies are given, guest mates are given. And also, we ask them about their skills. We ask them about their strengths. We ask them about their weaknesses. These are the main questions. We want to know whether the person is self-aware, because that will give them the power and the peace and to work and prosperity. So we become more confident with our newly discovered. They were always already there, but we just found them, newly found strength. So this changes the way we work. This changes our personality. So we perform better, we interact better because we are more confident and we realize our true worth internally and externally with the people that we deal. So if a leader does not know of his weaknesses, that, when somebody talks like that, it makes me angry. When students tell me, ma'am, pata nahi kya ho jata hai hame, you're not aware of your emotions. And that is devastating. You must know what is happening to you. And I'm going to come to that later. So when you are stressed, annoyed, uninspired, or deflated in your role, it is important to check. Why is it happening to you? So what do? We label the emotion. For example, the other day, I'm going to give you my own example. The other day, we heard about the chopper crash and General Rawat. Likewise, I heard about a friend of mine, her husband was in the ICU. In fact, yesterday he expired. I was very uneasy. My husband told me, he said, you look very lost. And I said, okay. He said, why are you behaving as if you're lost? And I said, oh my God. So I asked myself, what emotion am I having? And it was fear, the emotion of fear, because I was fearing for my friend's husband and the ones who died. I was hearing about death. Now, when I pinned the emotion that I was having, what happened was, how do I regulate it? How do I get rid of it? I can't let the fear be inside me. So I did immediately, what should I do to get rid of it? What is the answer? Why is it happening to me is what we do. Why is this happening to me? But when you label the emotion, that's the first step you need to do. Label the emotion. What is happening to you? Fear. And then you regulate it. What should I do now? So I did my meditation. I did prayers for him. And I put my burden on the Lord. And I was self-regulated. I was normal. So you have to first know what emotion you are having. You can't say, "Mere ko nahi pata, main kyun stressed out." So when you are able to label the emotion, it is like a third view perspective. Somebody is telling you, hey, you know, when you have a lot of work and you are snappy, don't talk to me now. Don't talk to me now. Why can't you give that 2 minutes to that person who is calling you? Because you're stressed out. Label the emotion. Oh, I'm stressed out. No, I don't need to be stressed out. I have the time. Regulate that emotion. Self-regulation. No, I can give that 2 minutes. Maybe that will give me a break. I'm prepared for my seminar. I don't have to be stressed out. Reason it out. So when you label an emotion, you are able to regulate yourself. But if you say, "Mere ko pata nahi kya ho raha hai," like many students tell me, "Ma'am, when I go to the interview, I can answer in front of you everything. I'm very this thing. Udhar pata nahi kya ho jata hai mere ko." I said, label the aim. "Ma'am, I'm stressed out." I said, then what do? You regulate yourself. How do you regulate yourself? Think of the strengths, the achievements. You're all prepared. The 3 V's of communication: visual, verbal, and vocal. You're all prepared for that. And you walk in with your strengths. So you've regulated yourself. And then you perform delivery. And that is how, when you are aware, you make the most important decisions of your life, which are very useful to you, which make you successful. So address the issue with the appropriate action, but that is labeling your emotion. And that is what emotional intelligence is all about. The first step, which I told you, is self-awareness. If you don't heal yourself, you will make all the others toxic. You will make all the others toxic. The whole place will become toxic because of you. And you don't know what the hell is happening to you. So now, how do we know whether we are self-aware? Okay, next slide. So we talk about, next slide. There are 2 people called Joe and Harry. I'll just brush on that. And that they made a window called Johari's window. Next slide, please. So they made this thing called Johari's window. And Johari's window, they said there are 4 windows in us. And A, B, C, D. Next slide, please. Organizers, the next slide. So A, B, C, D, arena, blind window, the closed window, and the hidden window. He said, A, the first window, is we are aware of ourselves. What we know about us, others know about us too. And then we have the blind window, which we don't see in us, but the others see in us. And the third is the closed window, where we don't want to tell some things of our life to others unless we don't open up. That's a closed window. Nobody will come to know about it. And the 4th one is the dead window, A, B, C, D. That is the unknown window, which we also don't know. But when a situation arises and we handle that situation, we come to realize our own strength, and people also come to realize us. Can I have the next slide, please? So they made, this is what I was talking about. The next slide again. So they made a list of Johari's adjectives and Nohari's adjectives. And they said, this is an exercise that you need to do. They said, make 2 columns. How I see myself from these adjectives, you tick mark. Next slide. And the second is how others see me, and give it to somebody. We do it in class. I do it in class. How others see. And that those people tick mark. And then we see the gap. We see the gap. What I think I am and what the others think. There are many things they think about me, which I don't know. So they are opening my blind window. And maybe I feel I'm displaying a lot of leadership, but maybe I'm not displaying that. So the gap, the blind spots in our life come. And what happens is when the blind spots happen, we come to know about our blind spots, we need to take care of them. Maybe, again, my own example. A few years back, my husband used to tell me, you react. You don't respond. Sometimes you just react and it's hurting. I looked at myself and I labeled my emotion. I was being defensive. I was feeling I was attacked. So I was being defensive. The emotion of losing my self-esteem. And then I said, no, maybe when somebody is telling me something, it's for my own good. So I regulated myself to listening. Like I always tell everybody, you have to learn to listen. And that is the medical doctors. How do they know the patient? How do they treat the patient? By listening. So our best skill that we can possess is listening skills. So that we can deal with people, we can connect with people. And when you, after that, Johari's window and the Johari's adjectives and Nohari's adjectives, we will learn to address the blind spots. Okay, this is what people think of from, oh, these are the good points that people think of me. Next slide. So we need to capitalize on our strengths and we need to lower our weaknesses. Now, I want to come, there are other strategies where you can do self-care. The first one is, like I said, how people perceive me and how I perceive myself, self-awareness. Number two, envision yourself. Like I told you, always reflect on your strengths, your achievements. Many times I do a lot of seminars and I forget to note it down. And it's not there in my CV. And later when I'm going over, I said, hey, I did that too. You have to note down your achievements because that's your power. That's the most beautiful part of you. That is what gives you self-esteem. You respect yourself for that. But what do we do? I know a lot of people say, oh, tere mein baat hai. We can't do that. We kill our motivation. We kill our strengths and abilities. We dampen them. Never do that to yourself. You're damaging yourself. Always remember your achievements. Reflect on them. Reflect on your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, and speak to your skills. Oh, I've got this skill. Speak about to your abilities, to your achievements, and to your accomplishments. And whatever you have, you don't have, and you want to attain, always move towards them. It makes you a stronger person. Forget about your weaknesses. All of us have weaknesses. And we have to become the best version of ourselves. So we envision ourselves with all our achievements. Like I told my students, when you walk in, there is no difference between the two candidates or any other candidate. It is how you carry your strengths with you and deliver. The person who's going with his weaknesses will show nervousness. The person who's carrying with him his strengths, his achievements, his skills, and he knows how to deliver is the winner. Shows confidence. So you have to show the best version of yourself and move in the right direction. So, like I told you, that we have to ask the what questions, not the why questions. I don't know why this is happening to me. I don't know why I'm sad. Okay, what is making you sad? You know you are sad, you've labeled the emotion. What is making you sad? Maybe Corona, maybe something which is, you've not made it in an organization that is making you sad. Okay, regulate yourself. You'll work towards it. Because remember, mistakes give you experience. And experience decreases your mistakes. So you are on the road to success again. Your failure is not a failure till the time you give up. If you give up, yes, you're a failure. So remember, we ask ourselves the wrong questions. Why? We have to ask what? Why always? Why is it happening to us? We think it gives us the negativity that we have. It brings that to light. Oh, I don't have it in me. No, I don't do this thing. But when I say, what is happening to me? Oh, I'm feeling sad. What should I do about it? What? And that is when I self-regulate and I come back to normal. And it's very, very important to be resilient, to bounce back. Okay, so now we talk about um, behaviors and beliefs which we have in us, which we need to change maybe. And that introspection tells us. Remember one thing, when you are feeling stressed out, your body also gives you all the wiring is such that the body also gives you all the clues. You start perspiring, your heartbeat, you can feel it. And that is when you ask the what questions. What is it that is making me feel like this? Oh, it is the fear. Fear of going to the interview. So you regulate yourself. But I am prepared. I will work with my strengths. And you regulate and become normal. So you rewire your brain because it's given you the signal that you are not normal. So you rewire the brain. Remember, fear, anger. What makes you angry? At times, you find that, you're what is that made you angry? Maybe the extra work. Extra work makes me angry, so I regulate myself. I'll tell you something. When I was always a person, wherever I worked, I got more job. Abhilasha, please do this. Abhilasha, please do that. And I used to say, why me? Always me? Yes, it happened to me. I'm reminded of a very beautiful movie that I saw, The Omen. And in that, the devil's son, when he comes to know that he's the devil's son, so he starts running and he goes to the ocean. And the beautiful picture, I can never forget that scene. The ocean, and there's the platform, and he goes right at the end of the platform and yells to universe, why me? And we always say that, why me? So I also said, why me? Till the time I heard one of my seniors say that, when work is given to Abhilasha, it's delivered. I regulated myself. Anger was not there. I used to perform before with anger. I used to do my work. But whenever extra work was given to me, the anger came. I said, hey, it's because they trust me. It's backhanded compliment. And I did that willingly. Willingly. And I always tell everybody this example, that when you go to the corporates and people give you work, don't. It's a backhanded compliment when you get all the work. Okay. Now I come to, we have talked about what. I want you to keep a journal, the next thing. Like I told you that there are many seminars I do and I forget about them. Keep a journal. Self-awareness, when you start, at the end of the day, you write down the emotions you felt. Did I get angry today? Did I feel sad today? Was I able to regulate it now? What did I do that made me feel good? What are the challenges I faced? What was I feeling? How did I respond? Remember, if we react, we are doing damage control later and we feel bad about it. Oh, why did I do that? But when we learn to ask the what questions, we respond. And when we respond, what are the strengths we used? So write down in this journal all the compliments you have got. They are the self-awareness compliments. They make you aware that what people think about you. Remember anything good that somebody said even 3-4 years back, write it down. They are great motivators. Okay? And then you write, what are my intentions for tomorrow? Where you did not make it today, you reacted. Tomorrow, you're not going to do that. So the last strategy that you can use for self-awareness is practice mindfulness. Now, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is a beautiful thing for self-control. Self-control is like self-regulation. Okay? Many of us think that self-awareness is a destination. Please remember, it is not a destination. It is a journey. And all throughout, you will have to be aware because your strengths increase, your weaknesses decrease, or you may get another weakness which you need to handle. You might not be aware, but you have obtained more skills, more strengths, more achievements. So it is a journey, not a destination. And you have to move the best of you, the best version of you forward. So remember one thing, the real art of conversation is not saying the right thing at the right time. It is that. But it is also to leave the unsaid wrong things at the temporary, tempting moment when I want to curse, but I keep quiet about it. So that is practicing mindfulness. So when you learn to choose peace over drama, distance over disrespect, you're becoming a better version of yourself. You're having self-control. So let me say the concluding words for self-awareness is our ability to accurately perceive the level of knowledge, the level of skills, the level of values, the level of accountability, the level of responsibility we use when it comes to our emotions. And the confidence we show, the confident we are, what we have to offer the world personally and professionally. It is also the root of self-esteem. You need to love yourself. And when you are aware of all the goodness you have in you, you have a very high self-esteem. Because you admire yourself, and that is what makes others admire you, because you are not focusing. Remember one thing. We will get that negativity or that value, what we fuel. If I keep on saying, oh, I'm miserable at this, remember, I will become miserable because I'm fueling that energy. I'm paying attention to that energy. I'm giving so much of my time and my life energy to that negativity. If somebody has said something wrong about me, and I say, oh my God, she said this, I'm fueling that. My life forces are energizing that energy, that negativity, and it's coming in me. We don't have to think about it. So don't tend to your own fire. Kill it. Put water on it. See the best of yourself. So we can fully appreciate ourselves and we can see the value we brought to others. When people say thank you to you, You brought value to their life. Write that down. Suchitra told me, thank you for making a change in my life. Because that affects you. Remember, the people you are with, the people you like to be with, they are the co-creators of your personality. If there's a saying, you tell me what company you keep, and I'll tell you what is your character. So they become co-creators of your personality. So be very careful. Be with positive people and don't energize the negative energies. Okay? Now, many times, our intended message is clouded by our delivery. We are good, but it's clouded by our delivery. Why? Because the 3 V's of communication, visual, vocal, and verbal, are not in sync. I can say, Haji, boliye. And I can say, Haji, boliye. Vocal mastery. It means 2 different things. So sometimes we cloud our message by the way we deliver. So it is very, very important to learn the visual, verbal, and vocal mastery, because that will give us a sense of peace, prosperity, and power. And we need to practice it. It's a journey. It is not a destination. And remember that every dimension of our life will get strengthened because we feel confident then. We are walking with our strengths and we start performing our responsibilities very, very well. So the power of self-awareness cannot be underestimated because it is the foundation of all aspects of our personal and professional life. So remember, if people have been putting you down and after that they stop putting you down, it's because you have realized your self-worth. Next slide. And I come after this to another second thing, which is called, he said there are 5 components. We have talked about self-awareness and how to develop that. And the second one is self-regulation or emotional management. You are aware that you get angry very fast. How do you manage that? So remember, I told you that energy is the currency of the universe. When you pay attention to something, you buy that experience. If you are paying attention to a negative comment that has been given to you, you're buying that. And selection is your choice. You're focusing on it. You are giving your precious moments of your life energy to that negativity, rather than enjoying the goodness of what people think about you. Otherwise, the ones who have given the compliments to you, you forget that usne mere ko ye kaha. Don't fuel it. So, what is self-management? It is to regulate your emotions. You are hurt, but you regulate it. I don't fuel it anymore. I regulate it. So, it includes the bad. You think that the people with high emotional intelligence don't have bad moods, are not impulsive, don't have negative emotions? Of course they have. But remember, your mind is the strongest and most powerful healer of your body. So don't let the shadows of people's judgment make bother you. Make your own judgment. Make your own choices in the light of your own wisdom. So what we do is, usually we are walking forward with our heads backward. What people said was, no, walk forward with your strengths, with your accomplishment. So shift from competition to contribution. My faults, my failure is all because of my lack of control of them. And that's the blatant truth. Okay, so negative emotions not only affect you, but they affect the people around you and take a toll on your well-being. You're showing a different picture of you. So what happens? Like I said in one of my seminars, I said, when we teach email writing, when you've got a very, very negative email, or you've had a fight with your boss and you go to your laptop and start typing a letter, remember you are going to use very aggressive words because the anger is coming out. The connect is with the anger. If you just keep quiet, do mindfulness, sleep over it, and you will see that it will not be bothering you that much. And then when you write, you will be using assertive language. So don't entertain negative energy. There are some situations that will test your patience. There is no two ways about it. And you may react, you may overthink, and you may also, they don't deserve your life force. Okay? But don't feed it and don't add value to it. Conserve your energy. So now, next slide, I come to other ways. Sorry. I come to other ways. And I talk about the okay coral. These are life positions. And I would like to tell you that please always work from the position, I'm okay, you are okay. There are 4 life positions. I'm okay, you are okay. I'm okay, you are not okay. That means I am a proud person. I am an aggressive person. And then there is a third one. I am not okay. I'm not, you are okay. I'm not okay. And this is a passive personality, a passive personality. And then there is the last one. I'm not okay. You're not okay. And we are the depressed personality. Always move from I'm okay, you're okay. Think everybody as okay and deal with them till the time they prove otherwise. And then you need to bring them up. Next slide. So I come to the 3 ego states. Just a mention about that. And there are 3 ego states which are in us: the parent ego, the child ego, and the adult ego. And they are manifested in the set of behavioral patterns that we have. Now, the parent ego is the thought state. All that we have learned from our parents, from our elders, is what the parent ego we move from. It is the taught, T-A-U-G-H-T, taught state we move from. Some people move from that. They say, oh, my uncles did that. Oh, no, we were taught like that. And they move like that. And in the parent ego states, there is the supportive and the nurturing parent. And there is a critical and a disapproval parent who's always finding faults to correct you or who's always supporting you. We have the child ego. Child ego state is a storehouse of childhood experiences. Okay, and it is retained till adulthood. Now, the dominant character of this is these people are very spontaneous. They are irresponsible. They may be irresponsible, very innovative, very creative. And they're capable of behaving in a real abandoned manner. This is the child ego. This is the feeling state. They work from feelings. The parent is the taught state. The child is the feeling state. And the third is the adult ego state, which goes through the thought process, T-H-O-U-G-H-T. He works by thinking. Okay, and he works by being logical, by taking factual facts. He takes factual orientation, and with little feelings, he exchanges his ideas, which are correct. Adult ego state, the thought state. So he's in control of all situations and exhibits responsibility and rational decisions. So remember, we have to be from the adult ego state. As far as possible, the adult ego state, when you want people to respect you and you want to proceed in your life. And this is one of the characteristics of an emotional, intelligent person. So when you spread your wings, you will only when you spread your wings, you have an idea as to how far you can go. Life is not about only finding yourself. It is about creating yourself. You have to create yourself. So you have to put in the priority list. You are very important and you have to put yourself in the priority list. You never have to be a person who is a problem. You have to be a part of the solution. People have to come to you seeking a solution. I know many people, he says, हर वक्त problem होती है मेरे पास आ जाते हैं. You should be happy that people come to you because they look up to you. You have to be a part of the solution. So self-regulation means that we control and manage our emotions, desires, and behavior. And our behavior results in a positive outcome. So if the goal is in front of you, you find it very difficult. Don't put the goal down. Increase your efforts to reach the goal. There are a lot, the British, the Western world sometimes can be very blunt. And you might feel hurt. We might use better words, but they say it as they feel. We need to think about the emotional intelligence part. We need to connect with people. I used to notice when I used to go to the office, people were on their laptop. Now that's replaced by the WhatsApp, by the, what should I say, the mobile. However, before people were on the laptop, you used to come there, you say, hi, how are you? Ha, bol, kya chahiye? And on the laptop. Where was the connect? There was no connect. You were connected to the laptop. 2 minutes, if you look at the person and say, oh, hi, how are you? You have made a connect for lifetime. What does the doctor do? He listens to you. He has made a connect. But we fail to make that connect. So remember that we have to practice self-regulation so that we don't regret and don't do damage control. So we have to we will get rid of our unnecessary tensions, our negativity, and it will make us grow and prosper. Self-control is strength. Calmness is mastery. So don't go to the extent where people's insignificant remarks change your mood. No. Locus of control is with me. I know my strengths, and so I will work from that. So don't let the people control the direction of your life. And don't let your negative emotion empower you. Don't fuel it at all. So there are two things which I would like to tell you. When you don't regulate your emotions, there is a bad pressure. There is a bad pressure. And what happens is we lose our balance. We start getting angry. There is resentment inside us. And if we internalize it, it comes in the form of stress. And if we externalize it, we are abusing. We need to regulate it. What should I do? So it is very easy getting distracted with what everyone is saying and acting towards you. However, you need to tend to your own fire. You are very, very important in life. So if you have not regulated, remember you are toxic and you're spreading it to all your teammates. But if you have good pressure, this is known as good pressure, when you regulate yourselves, you have clear expectations about yourself, you are accountable, and you generate levels of successes, and you become confident, you become calm, and you become supportive. And likewise, this trickles down. We attract people with the same types of skills. So if we don't know anything, we need to just ask. If we don't agree with anybody, we need to discuss. And if we don't like anything, we say it in a very positive manner. Maybe there is another way of looking at it. So remember, when you forgive, you heal. And when you let go, you grow. Life is all about a balance. So be kind to the people who abuse you, but trust, but don't be deceived. Be content, but don't stop improving yourself. Be strong, but not rude. Be humble, but not timid. Not timid. Be proud, but not arrogant. So I come to a very small example that I would like to tell you about the pencil parable. The pencil parable says, there is a pencil. Have you seen those pencils we had with a little eraser behind and the pencil was long? So I'm going to give you this example. It's a very, very beautiful example of being aware. Now, it is always held in the hand. So be open to people. Compare it. Be open to people. If somebody is giving you and wants to hold your hand, please let it, if it's in the right direction. Just like the pencil allows it. Now, we need to sharpen the pencil all the time. It's a painful sharpening. Like that, we also undergo a lot of sharpening. We undergo a lot of painful sharpening. But it is only to make us better, because then the lead comes out. We have to undergo that. Each one of us had to undergo that. We have to accept that. But what is most important is not the outside of the pencil, it is the lead. So what is important is inside us. Our strengths, our abilities, and we need to realize them. So no matter what happens, the pencil keeps on writing. That's the job. And we need to go ahead. No matter what people think about us, if we are correct, we need to keep on writing and leave our imprint. Another very beautiful letter I read about from APJ Abdul Kalam. And he said that, he said, why is media so negative? He said, we are so embarrassed to write about our strengths and our achievements about India. He said, we are a great nation. We are the first ones in milk production, in remote sensing satellites, second in producing wheat and rice. And he says, however, our media talks about so many died, so many this thing, so many that thing. That is what we highlighted, the negativity. He said, I would like to quote what President Kennedy said to the Americans. He said, don't ask what America can do for you. Ask what you can do for America. So he says, I am going to tell you, ask what we can do for India. Do what has to be done to make India. And that is how we will come to rise. He said he was with a young little girl and he asked her, so what do you want to do? She said, I want to live in a developed India. And that is when he wrote this letter. So we need to think about that. Next slide. Next slide. I come to the next thing, which is, why do people need self-regulation? I think why? Because we are becoming competitive. We are going cross-cultural. Complete the slide, please. And there is a lot of change taking place. Companies are merging and breaking apart. And when we have a control over our emotions, we can roll with the changes. We can roll with the changes. There's so much of politics. There's so much of infighting. You know, I have some students coming to me, Ma'am, I want to change. What politics hai udhar? मैंने कहा, hello, you will keep on changing every 2 months? Because everywhere you will find one Abhilasha, one Abhijit, one Rupa man, but with different names. You need to handle your emotions and deal with the situation. And that requires a high level of emotional intelligence. And that, if you have that, it can be reduced because you will have a trickling effect. But if you keep on changing jobs, what? You are the loser. And remember, talented people are only attracted and you can retain them with people who have high emotional intelligence. Next slide. And I come to now something, the third component called self-motivation. One thing I would like to tell you that in life, there are very few people who will motivate you. Yes, we have people who are jealous of us. Yes, that's a fact. But you have to accept it. That's their problem, not ours. We don't have to. We don't have to. Think about that. So remember, you cannot climb the ladder of success in the costume of failure. You cannot. So motivation is what makes us move to action. What makes us move to action? We all have setbacks. We have all have our obstacles. But what inspires us and keeps us pushing us forward is motivation. Remember, you see a ground. If you don't put seeds in it, it'll grow wild grass and it'll look like banjad. All the weeds, everything is coming there, wild plants. Just like that, our mind is there. If we don't sow the correct seeds, it will have all negativity dominated. So people who have low motivation, okay, I always say we can't do it. So how to motivate yourself? I'm going to train you in that. Remember, running away from any problem only increases the distance from the solution. Face it and finish it. So we are not going to think about our negativities. Remember, a tree loses all its leaves, but it still stands tall. If obstacles, failures are there, you still need to stand tall. You need to ask feedback and keep on improving yourself. Not always ask, why me? So imagine something that Daniel Goleman says. He says that self-motivation is a must-have life skill. You must have it because nobody will motivate you. You have to be self-motivated. And it is a crucial part of building your emotional capability. It is a very, very crucial part. So, can I become self-motivated? Yes. And that is why when you are driven by your goal, the main thing is your goal in life. You need to realize that from within. So like Daniel Goleman said, it is a key component and we have to manage ourselves, our relationships. Now, what does self-motivation have? What are the components of self-motivation? It is an achievement drive. It is an achievement drive. It is the ability to face the challenging goals. You have to have a commitment. You have to have a commitment. You have to focus on the goal, and you have to align on your goal. Remember, like I always say, the road you have to walk alone. All the others are your support systems. So you have to be very powerful and make yourself powerful. You have to take initiative. Self-motivation means you have to have commitment. You have to have an achievement drive. You have to have an initiative. You have to take the initiative. I'll do it. Try yourself. And you have to be optimistic. And I'm going to connect this with the ant philosophy. Have you seen those small ants? They go in a line, and if you try to break that line, they come back to it. So the first lesson they teach us is they never quit. They always look for a way to get where they have to go. They never quit. They always come back. You try to do that. The second thing is, every summer, they think of winter. And every winter, they are thinking of summer. And they are accumulating. So you look ahead. Don't look back. Don't walk forward with your head backward. That is the problem for you to be miserable. So always look ahead. The third thing is that whenever it is cold or it's raining, they go in those holes and they wait for the rain or anything to stop, and then they come out. So what you have to do is be realistic. Be realistic and be positive all the time. Sunshine will come. And they accumulate all that they can. So you need to learn from that you also do what is all in your control and then leave it to the universe, to the Almighty who is there. Next slide. So I want to give you 5 tips of building greater confidence. You have to use the sources of motivation yourself. Firstly, self-motivate. Don't let others put you down by their stupid comments or whatever. Be with supportive colleagues. They are your co-creators. An emotional mentor. Your environment should be positive. Distance yourself from negative environment. Now, when you have a large job, for example, my students say, oh, ma'am, research work. So when I guide them in research, I break down, okay, which are the chapters you are going to, what are the topics? Then the subtopics. Okay, for tomorrow, you are going to complete these subtopics. And then these, and then one topic will be over. So you break down into small jobs and small tasks, and they find it very, very easy. You have to find other better ways of achieving your goals. Technology is there. So you need to look into better ways, and you have to always self-talk yourself. Talk to yourself, self-talk, positive. I can do it. Oh, I have done so much. Remind yourself. And you will avoid the fear of failing. Otherwise, we are all so bothered and get so put down by the fear of failing. Okay, and the last thing is that always look forward positively. Don't look at the negativity. We all have negativities, and you try to look at the positivity of the other people, and you'll find that you don't hate anybody. Because each one of us has negativity and positivity. And I come to the next part, which is something which everybody questions me on, and I'm going to take it in detail. And that fourth component is empathy. Empathy is something which means that we feel the emotions of others. Next slide. We feel the emotions of others, and we get emotional cues from them, So what is empathy is that we can feel the feelings of the others. And then we are self-aware of our emotions. And when I'm with somebody, I can feel that their emotion too. I might be smiling, but inside I'm very sad. When you have empathy, you can feel that you are sad. Okay, now remember, we are dealing with a lot of people. Many people understand you, but very few will feel the feeling that you are having. And it is only worthwhile when you can touch lives. So empathy is building rapport. Building rapport. Now, I would like to tell you something. I'm going to give you one example and then I'm going to continue. When a patient comes to a doctor, he's got this, he's not understanding what he's got. He comes to the doctor. The doctor is self-aware of his capability. So he regulates himself to, and when he hears the patient, he knows that it's a difficult problem, difficult illness he has to handle. He regulates himself. He needs advice, he will ask his friends. He needs to read out, he might do it later. He empathizes with the patient. He listens to the patient and he comes to know the feeling of fear. So what does he do? He regulates himself and says, oh, I'm there. We are here. Why are you worried? So he feels that person is just saying, this thing. Now, by listening to the patient is half cured. Now, half the time I tell my students, when you're looking at the mobile, the connect is with the mobile, not with the other people. So you've not made a connect. So like that, when the doctor listens to the patient, he's made a connect. He's made a connect with the patient. That is empathizing. And then he says, I'm there. He feels that this thing. He talks in the language that will soothe the emotions of that person. Okay, we will put you on this, we will put you on that, and you will get better. And then he builds a relationship with the patient. That patient who has been listened to now will only come to this doctor because he's made a connect. That is emotional intelligence, using emotional intelligence. Now, I give you another example. Empathy and emotional intelligence. And I'm going to talk about a salesperson. A salesperson goes to sell items. He's self-aware, confident of his selling skills. Now, he goes to the person to sell his items, or the people come to his shop. And what does he do? He understands that this person has got a lot of money and wants the best of the things. So he regulates his actions to this thing. And he says, नहीं ऐसा कपड़ा ऐसा ये पता हो ये मैंने एक बार ये पहना था वो तो छिज गया. And he says, हाँ वो वैसा हो जाता है, but I can show you something very, very well. So he empathizes with her. Now, what is empathizing? I'm understanding your feelings and I am addressing them. So the person builds trust. So now as a customer, I feel he's understood me. So I start opening up. अच्छा ये भी दिखा सकते वो, and he's built a relationship. He's used his emotional intelligence to make a permanent customer. It's not a one-time thing that I'll come to you. But the people who don't say, हाँ जी नहीं है ये है वो है, who don't take time out for you, they don't build customers. They don't build permanent relationship. So we need to empathize. Why? Because we are dealing with teams. We are dealing with teams, and we are in an organization where there are a lot of people. We are also facing globalization, and we have to retain the talent. And if you are not working under an emotionally intelligent person, a leader, you might feel unwanted. You may not feel connected, and you might be looking for other jobs. So empathy is very, very important. Okay, so it is a team harmony. Angry people want to show you how powerful they are, but it is only the empathetic people who will make you see how powerful you are. So empathy and emotional intelligence both together are the ability to connect. Empathy is the ability to feel what the other person is feeling. It is to experience their emotion. It is to put yourself into their shoes and see the world. And emotional intelligence is the ability to manage your emotions as well as theirs, and use this as a communication process to come to a positive outcome. Okay, so there are a lot of things which you require, the attributes of empathy and emotional intelligence. And the first thing is self-discipline. Now I'm going to talk about that. First thing is self-discipline. You have to be self-disciplined. You don't have to be an emotional wreck. Please remember, again, I'm reiterating with this, that people don't like to work with people who are emotionally imbalanced, who work on moods. You have to control your emotions, and that's what emotional intelligence is about. Control your emotions, understand the other person's emotions, control them, regulate it. Empathize, come to know their feelings, and build relations for a positive outcome. So what do we do? The first thing is that we have to set aside our thoughts, our emotions, and our feelings. You've had a fight with your wife at home, forget it when you come professionally. That chapter is closed, that door is closed. You're there to deal with the people professionally. You're not shouting at everybody because you had a fight with your wife. Because you are now dealing with people. And so you have to have self-discipline, and you understand their feeling, and you resort to solutions there. And you control the communication. The second thing is optimism. Empathy's second attribute is optimism. That you have to try to use the empathy and emotional intelligence, like I told you, that the doctor develops that bond with the patient by listening to him and giving him encouraging statements. So, like that, be positive. You have to have a positive outlook and give a positive experience to others. The third one is you have to be competitive. You have to bring yourself up, but that is with your contribution. Now there is the word has shifted from competition to contribution. Contribute, don't compete. And when you contribute, you create a connection once you are there. Now, the fourth one is initiative. Empathy means initiative. You are taking the initiative and you are proactive in understanding how the person is feeling before you act, before you behave. So it couples the ability to act with the ability to include other people's needs. Empathy and emotional intelligence also means resourcefulness. Resourcefulness means if I can't handle this, I might have to ask the surgical specialist for his opinion, or an expert for his opinion, I will do it. But I get the full trust of the patient because I will find resources to deal with the situation. That is empathy. So there is a determination to be coupled with deep understanding of the other people's needs and thoughts and emotions. And empathy also means caring. It means caring because it underlines both the ability and the intention to act empathetically. So we come to the eighth part, which is kindness. Kindness means you loan your strength rather than remind them of their weaknesses. People with high emotional intelligence always loan their strengths rather than remind others of their weakness. So you bring up people. You bring up people. Next slide. So teams, it is very important nowadays because teams have become a must for handling. And everybody is contributing. You are hired for your contributions. And it becomes challenging if you can't touch them because then the teams will not work as teams. What is a team? Together, everyone achieves more. So we have to deal with teams, and the team leader has to look at everybody's viewpoint and work from the adult ego state and take what is best. Take what is best. So empathy and emotional intelligence are the currency of trust and rapport. They are the currency of trust and rapport. Life and time are the world's best teachers, like I say. Life teaches us the use of time, and time teaches us the use of life. So, next slide. When empathy and emotional intelligence are missing, what will happen? We will have very difficult time with connecting to the customers' feelings, their thoughts, and their emotions. And we are going global. And it is very important for the business leaders to be empathetic. There is cross-cultural dialogue. And remember one thing, the 3 V's of communication. We have to understand communication, the visual, the vocal, and the verbal. There might be a lot of hidden cues in that. And we have to understand the ethnic and the cultural differences which are there. Because if we don't have that emotional intelligence, it'll come across as a lack of interest, a cool distance, a lack of engagement. And it leaves the customer thinking very dissatisfied that these people are not addressing to my problems. So there is a weak needs analysis, which is lacking, and we need to focus on that. So there has to be a rapport, and we have to create a positive outcome with the client. When we have emotional intelligence, we have made a permanent customer, and that doesn't require a second sales call. They'll call you. However, if we don't have them, then the team loses confidence in the leadership. Problems start developing in the cross-functional team, and we don't understand what is going wrong. We don't communicate, and the team may lose interest and may not conclude to the highest. So remember that we need to be empathetic and use emotional intelligence to our benefit. Next slide. I come to the next one, which is called social effectiveness, and this is the fifth contribution. First was self-awareness, which we learned how to make ourselves aware, all the techniques. Second was how to regulate ourselves. Third was self-motivation. Fourth was empathy. And the fifth one is social effectiveness. And this is the last component, which Daniel Goleman said. Now, good relations are like needles of a clock. They only meet for some time, but stay connected. Complete the slide, please. So it is all about interpersonal skills where we build trust, rapport, and respect for everybody. And it is a team building exercise. And it is all about trusting and being trusted by the team. So it allows you to settle disputes amicably. So a manager might have outstanding relation management skills, and he will be able to inspire, guide the team very effectively. Okay, and that will affect the team's performance and productivity. Your cell phone has replaced your watch, your alarm, and your calendar, but please don't let it replace your friends and your colleagues. Always find time, put it aside, and talk to them. The connection, if you keep on looking, your connection is with your mobile, not with the people. So you need to know, make yourself socially effective. I would like to tell you a story about Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin was an American statesperson. Now, he was very fond of arguments, and when he was young, he used to, have a fight with everybody at every instance. He loved it because he always won. One day, a friend of his came to him and told him, he said, Benjamin, nobody wants to come next to you. All the friends prefer it better and feel happier when you are not around. He was America's greatest statesman. So what happened? He says, because talking to you, you are not going to listen. So you know very little because you don't know the other side. You only know what you are. Now, Benjamin Franklin was a very, very clever person. That's why he became America's greatest politician. He quickly did introspection and did that self-awareness, self-regulation. And he realized that, yes, he wouldn't let anybody talk. And after that, he became one of the most loved person. He corrected himself. And it is only by one friend telling him that, Benjamin, when you are not around, we are happier. You don't know more than what you know because you're not listening to anybody, and you love to have an argument, and nobody wants to get through an argument with you because you don't let anybody else talk. And he boycotted his ways and learned to be a listener, built emotional intelligence, and was one of the most loved leaders of America. So, social skills is a very, very broad. It has a broad meaning, but it handles and influences other people's emotions effectively if you have social effectiveness. Like a smile will bring back a smile. So in a jigsaw puzzle, emotional intelligence is the final piece of emotional intelligence that you fill in. Why? Because it starts with understanding your own emotions, your self-awareness, and then being able to regulate them, self-regulation, and use them for your goals. You motivate yourself, self-motivation to achieve the goals. Once you're able to understand and manage yourself, you understand the emotions and feelings of the other person, and that is empathy. And finally, you influence them, and that is called social skills. Now, social skills also covers a range of skills, and I'm going to touch upon them only to make you aware. Social skills in emotional intelligence includes persuasion and influencing skills, communication skills, conflict management skills, change management skills, building bonds, collaboration and cooperation, team building skills, and building rapport. And I would like to just tell you how. Now, when you have social skills, you can persuade and influence people. You can persuade and influence people. So, what is persuasion? It is the art of enthusing others and winning them over to your ideas and your course of action. So, the people who are influential, who are persuasive, read the emotional currents in a situation and fine tune and get the people involved. Today, every college is going for communication skills. So, what is communication skills? One of the main skills of communication skills is listening skills, which I always give the examples of the doctors. They listen, learn from them, and they come to a solution. If you don't listen, your decisions will be wrong. So, you have to listen to others, you have to convey your thoughts without clouding them, clouding the delivery. You have to use the right words, the right vocal mastery. When I say yes, please, different meaning. You have to use, this is wrong. Maybe we could, see this in another way. So we have to use empathy. And good, that is why communication skills nowadays is taught. So we have to listen to everybody, and we have to listen to the words which are unsaid. Why? Because your body language is speaking 24/7. Even if you are not speaking, your body language is speaking. So you have to have listening skills, you have to have reflection then, and you have to clarify. You have to have the ability to hear the bad news, not only good news, and deal with this difficult situations. There are difficult situations, we have to handle them. But don't think, oh, a problem. When we say it's a problem, it is because you don't have the idea to handle it. You don't know how to deal with it. That's why you call it a problem. But when you say, sir, there's a situation we need to handle, that means you have ideas and you are going to handle them. So you have to register the emotional cues, and you have to ensure that the message is appropriate. Now, we have conflicts everywhere. Conflict management skills. We have conflict everywhere. In our personal lives, there are disagreements, and in our professional life. And it is very, very crucial that we solve these conflicts. So we have to be aware of tact and diplomacy, and this comes in the verbal mastery. You can't be rude. You have to be tactful. So what do good managers do? People with high emotional intelligence. They bring both the parties to the table, and they make them confront each other, and they mediate. And they use the right words, the right vocal and verbal methods. And they share their emotions. They bring it into an open discussion. Whenever you have a conflict with anybody, remember the best way is not to tell 10 people. It's not going to reduce your hurt. It is best to confront that person and say, may I have a word with you? Yesterday, I needed to clarify certain things. And say, yesterday you said this. May I know the reason why you said that? The best way is to clarify the conflict with the person himself rather than telling it to 10 people, which is only going to make you a joke. People will relish on it. So maintain your self-esteem, your self-worth, go and confront the person. And that is conflict management skills. You just need to have the courage. And once you recognize, so when you go there, you use the self-awareness, the self-regulation, empathy, and build the connection again. So we come to leadership skills. Remember, leadership, a large part of it is emotional intelligence. And we have to, people also call it charisma. Charisma. Okay, but it is emotional intelligence because good leaders will articulate a vision. They will enthuse others, and they will not need to be in a formal leadership role. You will look at them and get inspired. You would want to be like them. They will support you and guide you and your performance. And though they hold you accountable, but they are going to be with you and lead by example. The next thing was change management skills. Remember, one thing which is constant is change. We are changing every moment. Every moment. And highly emotional, intelligent people know how to roll with the changes. They don't say, "Are ye ho gaya, corona ho gaya, kya kare?" Okay, we'll manage that. We'll manage that. So they know that the road to success is to change yourself. And we can not get, we don't need to be stressful. Okay, so we can introduce the change and be the change catalyst. So we have to recognize that there's a need of change. We have to remove barriers, and then we have to lead from the front, modeling the change. The next is building rapport, empathy, building bonds. So to maintain a relationship, we need other people. Remember, I always say the road you walk is alone, but you need a lot of support system. Today, corporates get networking skills done because they realize that friends and family matter a lot. And you have to make bonds and rapport. You can only get work done if you are in good relationships with people. People will do it just because you are you, and or rather, but if you build a connection, the work is done. People are looking for good networkers. So remember that we have to develop the skill. We have to build bonds. And recruiters are looking for people who can build bonds. And they are the ones who are promoted also. So one of the hallmarks of this is that this person, this networker, has a lot of friends and a lot of colleagues. And they are the ones which maybe you have also experienced. You need to know कि ये कौन ये काम करतेगा, उससे पूछ ले, उसको पता होएगा. Why? Because you know that that person has good relationship management. He is socially very, very effective. So it is about valuing people and being interested in them and wanting to keep up with them. So you have to be socially this thing. Another one, collaboration and cooperation. We need to be collaborative. Remember, when we were small, we were dependent. Our parents told us, "Apne aap khana khao, apne aap bathroom jao, jao." From dependent, we became independent. And after that, when we grew up, we became interdependent. When we are interdependent with our family, our husband, wife, brothers, sisters, whatever, we are interdependent. Like that, in an organization, when we go, We become dependent on our senior. We learn everything. We become independent. But we are interdependent on others because the work is as a team. The organization works as a team. So we have to learn cooperation, we have to learn collaboration, and we have to have good, productive working environment. So the key social skill is emotional intelligence. So the people who value activity, they are the ones who will collaborate, share their plans and ideas, and work together for a better outcome. So they will seek opportunities, they are good team workers, and the teams perform better. They draw out all the strengths of the teams, they recognize that, and they collaborate. And there is a leader who leads them, and everybody in turn becomes a leader. So I would also like to tell you that emotional intelligence does not start or end with social skills. It is a cycle. Okay. And the ones who regulate their emotions are the ones who effectively connect with others. And it is very, very crucial in developing emotional intelligence. In the end, I would just like to give you an example of an eagle. I conclude with that. The eagle is supposed to be a species that lives the longest life, around 70 years. But at the age of 40, his beak turns. His talons cannot grab the prey. And his feathers become very, very heavy. And they get attached to his body. So now the eagle has to make a decision. And it is a very, very painful decision, which will take 150 days. Now, if he takes that decision, he lives for another 30 years. 70 years he'll complete. The decision is he has to go to the mountaintop, build a nest. And the first thing he does is breaks his beak. Breaks his beak, which is turned. And then waits for the beak to come out. When the beak comes out, he takes out his talons, all his nails, and then waits for it to come out. And after that, he takes out his feathers. It takes 150 days. And when he takes out his feathers, he waits for it to grow back. And when it grows back, new beak, new talons, new feathers, he makes his first flight to live another 30 years. So in the end, I would like to say we all need renewals. We can build emotional intelligence, definitely. Next slide. And with that, I just conclude this. The next slide is benefits of EQ. We get more attuned to people at work. You have the potential to explore, if you let your EQ guard down, situations that have the potential to explore if you let your differentiate between positive and destructive emotions. You can come to know that. Last slide. What is required? Who requires? Okay, the cost of low IQ. You miss deadlines. Nobody is willing to work. Costly mistakes, increased employee turnover. No, you don't retain people, and there is a decreased productivity. And who needs emotional intelligence? Last slide. It is the senior level, the junior level, and even the middle level. So we are developing EQ with all the points that I have already discussed with you. I'll be very happy to answer any other questions you have.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the very wonderful session on emotional intelligence. With your permission, I would like to take some questions from audience side. Maybe,
Yes.
ma'am? There is one question from Dr. Sanchita Das, ma'am. Ma'am
Yes.
want to know, the point to know about parent ego. Nowadays, all are talking the generation. The children are having less patience and less control over temperament. In my opinion, is it not due to parenting mistake? Is not due to the over ambitious burden on small kids by the tight education system along the extracurricular goals?
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. It is. It is a mixture of all. But it depends on the situation which is affecting the child the most. So we have to change our education system. It might be a parental, mistake of
Yes, ma'am.
overguarding or overcritical or over supportive, and it
Mm-hmm.
might be the child's inability to handle the pressures. Definitely.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so
Because
much,
we
ma'am.
are running with the educational system that we have to fight with. The kid has to fight with other kids. The educational system has to be changed. The need is
Absolutely,
that
ma'am. Absolutely. And we have to make it easier because
easier.
there are a lot of pressures. Absolutely,
We
ma'am.
have to think what is the main choice of the child. If she likes bio, she has to read bio only. Likewise.
Absolutely. Those days are gone, ma'am, where
Yes, ma'am.
doctor's son will become a doctor. Now
Doctor.
we have to see the aptitude of the person, and
Mm-hmm.
then
What is the
when it,
choice of the kid?
yes,
Thank you,
absolutely.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We have one more question from one of our colleague, Abhishek Devnath. Sir, want to know why it is that both IQ and EQ need to be work together.
Okay. Intelligent quotient, like I said, has been given importance from years. Until now, it's been given importance. Mera bacha first aaya hai. We feel so proud about it. But will he be able to handle a situation if a situation arises? That we don't know. We only know that he was good in his retention and maybe he vomited out all in the examination and got good marks. But we have no idea how he is going to lead his life. Will he have job satisfaction? It
Yes.
is the only developing emotional intelligence, aware of his strengths, how to regulate his bad emotions, connecting that he will be able to live a life that will make a living. Emotional intelligence gives intelligent quotient gives you a living. Emotional intelligence tells you how to live. It is a balance.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There is one question from Dr. Soumya Das, ma'am. Ma'am want to know, how do IQ test measure emotional intelligence?
Sorry, how do IQ test?
How do IQ test measure emotional intelligence?
Measure. Did you say
Yes,
measure?
ma'am. Yes, measure
Emotional
emotional
intelligence.
intelligence.
It does not measure emotional intelligence. If you want to measure, you want to become self-aware of your strengths, you can go to a site called VIA, and you can come to know of your strengths there, the 5 major strengths that you have. But emotional intelligence, your intelligent quotient does not measure your emotional intelligence. That is why, like I told you, the HR people nowadays have guesstimates asked to the questions to the students, and even case studies, because they want to judge what other skills there are in a person to handle situations.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for a very key point. What you have discussed is keep remember on strength and achievement in every condition. And this is the truly required session in this stressful environment. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out the time for the busy schedule. And I hope audience got to know a lot about on emotional intelligence. Monica ma'am is here, organizer of this FDP. Ma'am, want to say something? All,
Can't hear you, ma'am.
ma'am,
Thank you so much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for calling me, ma'am.
I am a big fan of yours. First of all, I will like to acknowledge that thing.
Thank you, ma'am.
That I'm every day, every time when I listen to you, I always learn a lot of things. And your lectures are really your presentation, each and everything that we have, I think that must help our audience, our participants too, that how they can build their emotional intelligence, because most of the participants are faculty members, and I know they have a big IQ. So but what we require these days is emotional intelligence along with the IQ too. If we don't have that thing, emotional intelligence, then we lag some behind, as you have already said in your presentation part, that emotional intelligence is very much required, how we can control on our that is emotions at various times. So first, just wanted one more ask one question from my side, that how we can maintain balance between empathy and sympathy, because when we are empathizing with someone, and at the same moment we always have that main thing that we become sympathetic to. So how to maintain such kind of balance?
Sympathy is understanding their feelings. Empathy is feeling what they are feeling. It's feeling what they are feeling. So what happens is that when we are empathetic, we are connecting. When we are empathetic, we are connecting. But when we are sympathetic, we are not connecting. We are just understanding, acha ye ho gaya. So when we want to make a connect, it is very important to be empathetic. And as a person, if you are empathetic, people get connected to you.
Yes, definitely. So this was mainly motivated me to have such kind of FDP. Your this emotional quotient kind of that what you always teach us. That's why I have even applied for this FDP only. That we have to design our thinking so that we can work for our patients. We have to emotionally connect with our patients.
Absolutely.
Until and unless we are not connected, we won't be able to do such kind of research. So that's why I wanted this kind of a lecture to be a part of this FDP.
Yes,
So thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you
We
so much.
enjoyed your session a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
ma'am.
for calling me. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.